y'all, what's up? This is Rom Wills back at you with yet another car video. Let me adjust this a little bit. The one thing that separates the select and non-select, and it's deeper. It's deeper than I've shared. I might have shared it a few times, but before I even get to that point, just some announcements. First, for those who follow me on Rom TV, and the link is in the description box, I got two new series that actually started Wednesday, and then uploaded the second one this morning. The first one is the Nice Guys and Players Study Guide. So for those who got my international bestseller, Nice Guys and Players, this series is going to go in chapter by chapter look at the book, the philosophy. Just going to go deeper into it. So that started yesterday. In the second series, now some people might remember when I read some excerpts from an unpublished manuscript I wrote called Being Mr. Goodbar, and it's kind of detailing my days in a, shall we say, creative nonfiction way. When I say creative, it ain't just like, oh, I did this or that. Put it kind of poetic, really to protect the names of the not so innocent. And plus, that's how I like to write nonfiction, if you leave it up to me. So check that out. So that's on my Rom TV. Check that out. So anyway, to the meat of the matter. Now, we've been having all these discussions about select, non-select, and there's a lot of nuances there because, of course, I promote the body game, but then you always find that one person who got a tight body and in the gym all the time, they still having trouble with women. And then, of course, I know my stance on the whole Pookie thing, but then somebody can say, well, I knew this Pookie or this Pookie getting it, which is still an exception, but, none of it's absolute. Or then, we can talk about the professional dudes making a bunch of money, masters of the universe, but then you got some other cats who making just as much money, decent body bills. They look from a aesthetic point of view, look the same as the money men or the mask men, but they not delivering that one thing. Now, to explain the one thing, let me tell a story. In fact, this is a constant story. So, me, I told you, my weight has gone up and down over the years. Yet there were times when I wasn't in my best shape that still had women doing vile things to me. And they would even tell me they had some other dude who was more muscular or something. Now, this ain't to say don't go out and think, oh, well, I can still drop that. No, you want to make it as easy as possible for yourself. It's still always better. The muscle's always good, and plus I hooked these women when before putting on a little bit of weight, so they were still hooked anyway. And the key word is hooked. The one thing that separates select men from non-select men is this. Women are looking for something from men. And what they're looking for, people call it different things. My mentor, Master Yao, calls it romantic intoxication. Tariq Nasheed called it a type of euphoria. In my book, A Player's Eyes, I call it the pleasure. Women, and I've even talked about it I've talked about it publicly on here. But sometimes I say stuff in it, over people's heads. Women look for a certain spark from a man, a certain euphoria. And they become addicted to that euphoria. It's the feelings. They're looking for the feelings. See, if you break down the four subcategories of the select, non-select, all of them rank according to how much feeling they, or how much of that drug, or how high they can get that woman. Mr. Goodbar is at the top of the pyramid because he's like rich chocolate. Well, you know, women love chocolate, and not just in a racial sense, but women are addicted to the feeling they have, and chocolate is actually an aphrodisiac anyway. So when they get that guy, he's like a walking aphrodisiac, and he knows how to carry himself, to adorn himself, to build his body in such a way that it gives her that hit of that drug. Because what you'll find with women, and just incidentally, most women are in denial of that. And some women don't even realize it because they might not have come across a good bar for whatever reason. They're not as numerous as people want to think, and only a tiny percentage of them are pookies, just to be clear. And, you know, that type of dude, he can be anywhere from on a street corner to a CEO suite. Because there's some guy on, I forgot his name. It's Dan something. That dude's a good bar. He ain't a masked man, he's a good bar. But anyway, so Mr. Goodbar is at the top of the pyramid because he can deliver that hit. He can deliver those feelings. And I'm going to emphasize feelings. And I'm going to tell you why after I go through this list. Now, the masked man, and who I'm starting to call the money man, the thing he can do, he can't deliver like that drug or those feelings in the same way as Mr. Goodbar, but he can mimic Mr. Goodbar's aura. That's a key piece to it. He can mimic his aura. So he could come close. So it's more like that drug, like any drug, but you mixing it with something, you cutting it. It's like you ain't getting the same potency, but it's still the drug. And part of that drug is the ability to financially gratify a woman in such a way. Like this dude, he can take them on a romantic getaway, or they can put her at ease because they can pay something. Now, this is different from tricking. Let me make that very clear. In fact, tricking is probably the worst way to use your money to get women. It's probably the worst way because, one, she's more in her rational mind when you tricking. She's taking that money for rational reasons. You don't want a woman to be rational. A key to that intoxication is not rational. It's far from it. You want to take a woman out of her head and into her body, and that's a key thing. That's a key thing, and that's one thing Mr. Goodbar does, because her body responds to him. Her body responds not to a man's face, but to his body. And those who follow my Deep Thought channel, I talk about the metaphysics of the body game. So that's on a deeper level. So he makes her feel something. So the thing is, the masked man, he got the money to, make her feel some way, take her on that whirlwind vacation or something like that. And plus, he still has some of the other stuff that Mr. Goodbar have, like a decent body, and he's going to have some level of game. Now, you get a lot of guys who are gamesmen and nice guys. Now, gamesmen, they can't really deliver that buzz. Or if they do, it's like so tiny, it's like, it's like you put some cocaine or something and you like dip your thing in it and you taste a little bit, but it ain't enough. That's why the typical gamesman got to be real persistent and stuff. And usually women deal with them because they can't get at the first two. So that guy got to be persistent. He got to just keep going, and at some point, she might deal with him because of lack of options. And then that's the type of dude who get over her place, or some will say, well, can I give you a massage? Something like that. But he ain't really dealing with it. And usually that type of woman will drop him as soon as Mr. Goodbar returns that text. And the money man, she's usually not in his league anyway. And the nice guy, see, the one thing with the nice guy don't know how to deliver that He don't know how to deliver that drug. That's the key with the nice guy. That's the key to understanding why the nice guy is in the position that he's in. He feels like a woman's brother. That's how a woman will feel. I've talked with women recently about that, and he said that was the thing with the nice guy. He a good guy, but it's like them fucking their brother. And unless they on some, like, twisted ass shit, they ain't not gonna be turned on by that. And that's really it. And see, that's why a lot of nice guys, one thing with a lot of nice guys, or guys who consider themselves good men, they don't engage the woman sexually. They engage them in a polite way, They engage them like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be cool, I'm gonna be your friend, like they her brother. And that don't really work. And it's like I don't know. Even if they do manage to get some play anyway from a woman who ain't feeling them, remember, I've said that non-select men get sex too, but there's a difference between like Victoria's Secrets and granny panties. Select men get Victoria's Secrets. Non-select men get like, hey, stop typing me, I ain't waking up for you. So, I mean, that's the difference right there. Understand, they looking for that drug there. Like, and that drug, I mean, it's nothing rational about any type of drug or feeling. Understand that. That even contributes to the shadow world. That even contributes to the shadow world, because when a woman, she might marry a guy because he's there, or, he might have some other stuff, but she'll deal with him on a bare minimum, but then they'll dip into the shadow world for it. For that, like, that real hit that they want and need. And that's the difference. That's the difference. Always think in terms of that hit. I mean, shoot, they drug addicts in denial. What do I say? What have I said on other videos? Like, a heroin addict tap their arms, that woman tap her thighs. And those who really remember some of my old videos before I used the jazz opening, remember that song I used to use, Pusher Man. And if you heard that whole song, she talking about how she getting strung out on this dude. Like, this dude tearing her up. I knew the woman who did that song. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. She was like addicted to that, as she called it, read between his legs. I forgot what she said. I forgot what the exact term was, but she was addicted. And that's part of it. That's part of it. Now, to deliver it, is no plain way to do it. It's a combination of things. Ain't no one thing you do and that's it. You gotta have a combination of things. You gotta be holistic. It gotta be a good combination of your physical presence, your personality, your masculinity, your subculture, religion, how much you resemble her imprint. That's a big piece right there. How much you resemble it. That's why some dudes will fail and some won't. But if a guy can learn it, like if I was going to sit down and figure out how to teach it, that'd be $1,000 coaching session, because it's not something I could do in an hour. I would have to like mentor somebody over a year or something to do it, and they'd have to compensate me for it. Real talk, because if a person doesn't have it in them already to do it, or their transformation would have to be on such a level. Their transformation would have to be on such a level that, yeah, they would have to just transform totally, because a lot of it is just psychological. Now, some of it, or a lot of it really, I talk about in my on-demand video on my Vimeo channel. Not on my Rom TV, but my Vimeo channel, The Good Bar Mystique. Because they really good at delivering it. And part of that mystique is how you do it. And I'll just say this, because, the game is sold in that toad. A lot of dudes actually do stuff that work against delivering that intoxication. In fact, most dudes work against it. I ain't calling any names, but sometimes when I hear some people talk about it, like in different platforms on YouTube, I'm like, dude, that ain't gonna work for you. So, anyway, let me get on out of here. I'm at the post office. And yeah, somebody ordering something. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all. Peace.